Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Easy English Podcast. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into a topic that resonates with so many English learners, especially those in our club. You can understand English pretty well when you hear it or read it, but when it comes to speaking, it feels like your tongue is tied in knots. This isn't just a challenge. For many, it's a major source of frustration. But here's the good news. Understanding why this happens is the first crucial step to overcoming it. You're definitely not alone in this. The gym analogy, an untrained muscle. Let's use an analogy to clearly illustrate this. Imagine you go to the gym 4 times a week, dedicated to improving your fitness. But in every single session, you only train your arms. You lift weights, do bicep curls, tricep extensions, fantastic arm workout. But what happens after a few months? You're going to have incredibly strong, well-developed arms. Your upper body will be impressive. However, your legs, they probably won't be that strong. Why? Because you never trained them. You never put them to work. It's the exact same principle with speaking English. If you spend countless hours listening to English speakers, watching movies, YouTube, other podcasts, hopefully ours, and reading English, books, articles, social media, you are metaphorically training your understanding muscles. You're building your comprehension, your listening skills, and your passive vocabulary. And those muscles get strong. You can grasp complex ideas, follow rapid conversations, and read challenging texts. But if you don't speak, if you never actively engage your speaking muscles, they remain weak. They're like those untrained legs. So when it's time to actually produce language, to formulate your own thoughts and articulate them, those muscles aren't ready for the workout. This imbalance is the root cause of the problem many of you face. Passive versus active vocabulary, the silent divide. Let's break down that muscle analogy further. When you listen or read, you're primarily using your passive vocabulary. These are words and phrases you recognize, understand, and can interpret in context. You don't need to produce them yourself, you just need to decode them. Think of it like recognizing a familiar face in a crowd. You know who they are, but you don't need to introduce them. However, when you speak, you need to access your active vocabulary. These are the words you can recall quickly, effortlessly, and accurately to construct your own sentences. This is where the gap widens. You might hear a word and perfectly understand its meaning. It's in your passive vocabulary. But when you try to use it yourself in a sentence, it just won't come to mind. Your brain struggles to retrieve it from storage and put it into action. This is the difference between simply knowing a word and being able to spontaneously use it. Beyond vocabulary, the mental hurdles. The challenge isn't just about words, it's about the entire process of spontaneous language production. Different brain processes, understanding, input, and speaking, output, involve distinct cognitive functions. When you listen, your brain is primarily focused on decoding, taking in information, processing sounds, and grasping meaning. When you speak, your brain has to encode information, formulate thoughts, select appropriate vocabulary, apply grammar rules, structure sentences, and then articulate them phonetically. This is a far more demanding, multi-layered task that requires rapid mental agility, lack of real-time practice. We can often understand grammar rules and vocabulary lists in theory, but applying them in real-time conversation, under the pressure of keeping a conversation flowing, is a different beast entirely. It's like knowing all the rules of a sport but never playing a match. The internal filter and perfectionism. This is a huge one for many students, especially those who are high achievers or naturally perfectionistic. You might be forming a perfect sentence in your head, but then an internal filter kicks in. You start overanalyzing. Is the grammar correct? Is this the best word? What if I sound silly? This self-correction and fear of imperfection often leads to self-censorship, and you decide not to speak at all. This perfection paralysis is a significant barrier. You will be perfect, but the very act of striving for perfection prevents the practice needed for improvement. Fear of judgment. This is perhaps the most common emotional hurdle. Students often worry that native speakers or even other learners will judge them for their mistakes, their accent, or their struggle to find words. This fear can be paralyzing, making you hesitant to even open your mouth. The solution: train your speaking muscle. The solution, as you rightly point out, is elegantly simple. You need to speak more. It's just like training a muscle at the gym. The more you use it, the stronger it will become. The more you speak, the more natural and comfortable it will feel. Here's how to actively train that speaking muscle. Embrace speaking, no matter what. This is the absolute priority. You have to make a conscious effort to speak English, even if you feel nervous, even if you anticipate making mistakes, and even if you feel people might be judging you. English is a language, and languages are designed to be spoken. If you don't speak it, you'll never achieve fluency. Focus on fluency over perfection. This is critical, especially for perfectionists. Your primary goal in early conversations should be to communicate your ideas, not to deliver a flawless speech. It's okay to make mistakes. They are a natural and necessary part of learning. Fluency means speaking smoothly and continuously, even with some errors. Perfection will come with time and consistent practice. Live in the moment. Don't overthink grammar or conjugations. Just open your mouth and express yourself. You can review grammar rules later, but in the conversation itself, your priority is communication. Create speaking opportunities. Talk to yourself. This sounds silly, but it's incredibly effective. Narrate your day, describe objects around you, talk about your plans, or even practice explaining a concept in English. This builds confidence and helps you access active vocabulary without external pressure. Find a speaking partner. This is invaluable. Look for language exchange partners online. Apps like Tandem or Hello Talk are great. Join English conversation clubs, like yours, or find a tutor. Regular, low-pressure conversations are gold. Join online communities. Many Discord servers, Facebook groups, and online forums dedicated to English learning offer opportunities for voice chat and real-time interaction. Participate in class. If you're in a class, raise your hand, answer questions, and engage in discussions, even if it's just a few sentences. Practice common phrases and chunks. Instead of just memorizing isolated words, focus on learning common phrases, expressions, and sentence structures. These chunks of language help you build sentences more automatically and reduce the mental load of creating everything from scratch. For example, instead of learning "I want to eat," learn "I want to eat" as a single unit. Record yourself speaking. This can be uncomfortable at first, but it's a powerful diagnostic tool. Record yourself speaking for a minute or two, then listen back. You'll hear areas where you pause, where you struggle to find words, or where you make recurring errors. This awareness helps you target your practice. The fear of judgment. Why most native speakers aren't judging you. Let's directly address that crippling fear of judgment. You said many students feel native speakers are judging them, worried they'll be thought less of because of a mistake or forgetting a word. I completely understand this fear. I felt the exact same way when I was learning German and Italian. I was scared to speak, especially with native speakers, because I was a perfectionist and expected myself to be flawless. But here's a crucial truth. Most native speakers are not judging you when you speak English. Seriously, they are not. If you don't believe me, ask yourself this question. Would you judge somebody learning your native language? If you're like most people, you wouldn't. You'd actually be impressed by their effort. You'd be proud of them for taking on such a challenge. You'd want to encourage them and help them. Native English speakers are no different. The vast majority appreciate your effort to learn their language, they understand it's difficult, and they admire your dedication. They're often genuinely happy to communicate with you and are patient with mistakes. Of course, there are some people in life who will always be critical or judgmental, regardless of language. You'll find them everywhere, speaking your own language or English. They are a very, very small minority. You have to do your best to ignore these negative people. Don't let them discourage you. Focus on the vast majority of supportive, encouraging individuals. In fact, English speakers make mistakes speaking English all the time. You'll hear native speakers use double negatives, I don't know nothing, instead of I don't know anything, misuse vocabulary, or make grammatical errors. Just because someone is a native speaker doesn't mean they speak perfectly. This should be reassuring to you. If native speakers aren't always perfect, why do you need to be? Trust the process. Believe in yourself. Being a perfectionist, while a positive trait in many areas, can actually prevent you from improving in language learning. If you don't speak, you won't get better. So try to let go of the need for perfection in the moment of conversation. Remember, the ultimate purpose of language is communication, not perfection. If you can express your ideas, if you can communicate what you want to say, you are doing fine. And if you keep doing this, keep getting into conversations, keep practicing, eventually you will improve. You will become more fluent. It's a process, and it takes patience. There will be days when you feel discouraged or unmotivated. That's completely normal and happens to everyone learning a new skill. But stick with it. Trust the process. Believe in yourself, and most importantly, keep speaking. We are human beings. We are fundamentally designed to learn language. You have this innate ability within you. So keep training that speaking muscle, embrace every opportunity, and watch yourself transform from someone who understands to someone who can confidently and fluently express themselves in English. I hope this deeper dive was helpful and motivated you even more to step out of your comfort zone and speak. That's the key, as we've seen. What are your biggest fears when it comes to speaking English? Share them in the comments below or send us a message on our social media. Let's support each other. Don't forget to subscribe to the Easy English podcast for more tips and lessons, and leave a like if you found this helpful. I'll see you in the next episode.